I'm your host, Shannon, and I'm so excited for our very first episode. With me today, I have my good friend, Kristen, and we're going to be chatting about beginning your journey of going natural. And Kristen is the person that inspired me to go natural. She is a hardworking mom to a lovely 3-year-old. She is a business owner of Consulting with K, a travel agency, and she's an HR manager, soon to be director, because we're speaking it into existence. And I'm so happy to just have her with me today. I've been natural for over a decade, and she's been a big part of that. So, Kristen, I will turn it over to you. Introduce yourself. Tell us a little about yourself and your natural hair journey.
Hello, hello. I feel like we should have some, applause in the background. No, I'm super excited to be here. I've watched you grow in your natural hair journey, so seeing this come to like fruition for you because it's been a goal of yours is really nice. But yeah, I think you pretty much hit my bio fairly well. Shannon said, I'm a mom. She's a busy 3-year-old. Her name's Seven. I have my own business, which is called Consulting with K. I basically help people who want to experience the world on a budget do so. So if you're interested, I'll have all my details available for you there. And then, yeah, like Shannon said, I'm also an HR benefits manager claiming to be a director here in the near future. And I have been natural well over a decade. I think I started my natural hair journey my sophomore year in high school. So that's why I am today.
Yeah. So, tell me a little bit about like your natural hair journey. Like, you started in high school, and I know for me, I started in college. And I remember being in high school, I personally didn't see that many people being natural, right? And we're talking about like the later 2000s. Crazy because we're in
Yes.
2023. But yeah, so talk a little bit about like just starting that journey. What was the thing that really prompted you to take that step?
Looking back, like when I was younger, my mom took my sister and I to get our hair done. Like every 2 weeks, we were in the shop. And I'm talking like perm, edges laid, like not a curl out of place. But I wasn't into like my hair. I didn't really care what it looked like. I
Yeah.
think one thing for sure, like I was just really into straight hair. I hated curls. So even as my mom getting my hair done, I hated curls. I'm like, I don't want big hair. It's weird. Like straight hair only. And so fast forward to high school and just being around other people and more culture or diversity rather,
Mm-hmm.
and people wearing their hair out and their curls being so pretty and people not really caring like if a curl was out of place. I'm super type A about my hair at this point. And so my sister went away to school and then she came back and her hair was down her back. And we have a fairly good grade of hair, I would say, based on my own standards. Her hair was down her back, and I'm like, whoa, what did you do? Like, what type of magic? How did it get so long? Because it was not that long when you left. But she decided that she was just going to wear sew-ins. She wanted to protect her hair from the heat, the humidity, all the things. She was
Yeah.
in Florida at the time. And she was just like, I didn't want to deal with my hair, so I got a sew-in. And I want to say she wore sew-ins maybe like 2 to 3 years straight, obviously doing her maintenance as needed.
Yeah.
And that's how she grew her hair out. And I was like, wow, like I don't have to use chemicals to make my hair flourish and
Mm.
be pretty to my standards. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Yeah.
don't have to do all of these things. I can figure it out on my own. And so sophomore year, I was like, Mom, I'm not getting a perm again. And she was like, huh? And I was like, I'm going to learn to wash and blow dry and straighten my hair and all these things. And so my aunt is the one who actually taught me how to use the curling iron and the hot comb at the time.
Yeah.
And my mom, she was a big influence in teaching me how to properly clean my hair. Like I could not
Yeah.
get the shampoo part down and my scalp. I would just remember like
Yep.
I'm blow drying my hair and I'm like, where are these flakes coming from? Like I just washed my hair. So that I feel like that's really important in your natural hair journey because like we're always refreshing our curls or refreshing our style, even with me having braids in, conditioning my scalp, my
Mm-hmm.
protective
Mm-hmm.
style. So there's so much product buildup and things of that nature. I couldn't figure it out. And I was like, Mom, I need help. So that's kind of where my story started.
I mean, Man, there's so much there. I think one, just being at in a diverse environment where you saw like other people with curly hair, right? Because even
Right.
just seeing other curly hair out there in the world, like
Period.
having that is kind of like, okay, because I think outside of the Black community, there's a lot of stigmas around curls in the
Exactly.
world, right? But like being in a space where you were able to see like curly hair and then like have your sister
Hmm.
come home and she's wearing sew-ins, right? So like sew-ins, I mean, they still present straight, right? But like knowing that her hair underneath it was
Right.
thriving and that there was a different way to do things, that it didn't always
Hmm.
have to be the way that you were presented for it to be, is like
Exactly.
really powerful and impactful.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm just thinking about you saying like you were in the chair every 2 weeks because I too was in that. My mom, like,
Religiously.
she stopped doing my hair when I was like 2 or 3, and she was like, "All right,
Yeah.
we're taking you to the shop." And I think how, yeah, to the salon because we don't know, right? And I think for so many of our parents, they're just like doing what they knew to do and like what they were trained to do, and like we inherit those things as well, and so like that informs our beauty standards until we see something
For sure.
differently. Your
For
aunt
sure.
that taught you how to do, like, did she just know all that stuff herself? I'm curious.
So the women in my family gray very early, and mine is tucked in this braid. So we're not going to talk about it. But the women in my family gray fairly early. And so she'd been dyeing her hair since before I
Mm,
can remember. And
okay.
so dyeing as well as perming, and just like seeing her straighten her hair and take care of her hair, I was like, oh, wow, that's really cool. So I can remember vividly one weekend we went over there. And this was during the time that I was transitioning,
Yeah.
just trying to figure out what to do with my hair. And so I feel like everyone, when they start out on their natural journey, they're just like, oh, let me try being a straight natural. Like, I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
grow out the perm and still press it out. And so that was me at the time.
Yeah.
And so she literally was like guiding me to do each section, not taking the pieces too big to make sure it was straight enough for me. Because remember, I only wanted straight hair at the time.
Yeah. Still.
So just kind of taking me through that, and then really making sure that we use quality products,
Yeah.
because as you know, being a natural, humidity is not your friend. So you can straighten your hair and open the door and you have an afro again. Like you just wasted all of that
Yeah.
time. So that was, I feel like that's where I started, using the flat irons and things of that nature.
Yeah. And that's, yeah, it's so funny that everybody there's those different phases, right? Like some people just do a big chop and some people are like,
Yep.
I'm not ready yet, so let's just phase it on out, which all of them are beautiful, right? Because you're just choosing
Yeah.
to do something and you're choosing to start.
Yeah.
And I know like when we met each other, you did a flat twist on my head for the first time, and I was like, who knew such things were possible? Because
And funny enough, I learned how to do that my senior year. I couldn't even do like a two strand. I couldn't get it. Like, I was like, my wrists don't work. And my mom was like, just be patient. We blew my hair out, and she literally guided my hands to do the flat twist. So I learned that literally a year before I met you.
and then you did it for me. And that's how people get free, okay? We're just passing
Literally.
along the little steps of things that we know. Because then I went home the summer after our freshman year and was like, I'm gonna try my own flat twist. And I had my best
There
friend
you
Paige, and
go.
then she ended up like growing her hair out. And like, it's just so funny how that trickle effect really, really works with people.
For sure. For sure.
So as the years have gone on, right? Because like I've seen
Hmm.
your hair in like many different phases. For those who are listening and watching, she's seen her hair in many different phases. She's in braids right now, like
Yeah.
wearing the curls and all of these things. So like what has choosing to embrace your natural hair meant to you over time? Like going from that place of starting but still wanting it to be straight to where you are now.
Um, I think the simplest answer to that question is just breaking the beauty standards, right? Like finding out what works for your hair, whether, like you said, that's chopping it all off or transitioning slowly but surely. And funny enough, I've big chopped like twice now, or maybe three times in my
Yeah.
natural hair journey. But, just really understanding that it's hair. And, just as we look at things
Mhm.
like makeup, it's an enhancement, right?
Yeah.
We make it what it should be. And I don't think that anybody can tell me how I should wear my hair. Like, if I don't want it to be super defined one day, it's not going to be super defined. I'm just going to
Yep.
put a headband on, or I'm going to let it be free. Or if I want to take more time and have my curls super defined, then I'm going to do that. But that's based on me and my hair and where I am in that present moment in life.
Yeah, no, I think that's so true. And honestly, even getting to embracing those different phases, right? Because it takes
Yeah.
time. Like you said, it's been a journey. Like
Mm-hmm.
at first you just want it straight, and then you're like, okay, maybe I can embrace a little curl. And it's like, maybe it doesn't even need to be defined today. Like
Exactly.
maybe I'll just wear these twists out. And each new phase is fun. And you talked about big chopping like 2 to 3 times.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that. Like, what was the influence behind that? Or was it just looking for a change? What was happening?
Yeah. So the first time, so I transitioned and I slowly cut the perm off,
Hmm.
and everything was perfect, right? I was like, oh, I got my, like, I'm doing it. I went home my, was it sophomore year of college? Yes. Sophomore year of college, went home for summer, and I was like, oh, mom, I want to do some color. Like, I was still at home, or no, it was after freshman year going into sophomore year. I was like, oh, mom, I want some color.
Yeah.
And, during that time, so we went to college in 2011, 2012. That was our freshman year. So
Yeah.
2013, beauty and natural hair was huge on YouTube, right?
Yep.
Like, we went to YouTube for every single thing. Like, oh, I want to try a middle part or a side part. Let me see what this influencer is doing. So I got the color bug. And I was like, oh, I'm going to dye my hair. But
Mhm.
living in Atlanta, you know how prices are, you know how stylists are. They're like at the wazoo with costs. And
Yeah.
so I was like, I'm just gonna get a box dye. I'm gonna get a box dye. My mom was like, do not do this. Like,
Yeah.
I'm telling you. So I'm in the bathroom and I'm putting it on and I'm like, oh, it's great. Everything's fine. And I went blonde. I didn't even try to like
Look,
do a
faded in.
red
Yeah.
or something, something. So I went blonde. I washed my hair and I kid you not, it looked like I had heat damage from years and years and years, like just straight. And I was like, oh, I just ruined my hair. So I went through the summer and I was like, it'll revert. That's what the YouTube girlies are saying. Just keep it moisturized, keep it
YouTube
hydrated.
girlies.
It'll revert. It did not revert. And
Mhm.
before I came to school, I was like,
Yeah.
let's just cut it off. Let's just cut it all off. And I didn't do like, the full on fade chop. I just kind of like cut where the damage started. And it was a cute little mini afro. And I was like, I could probably do something with this. So that was the first time. And then the second time I actually big chopped was after I had my daughter,
Yeah.
due to postpartum and just like a whole mental shift. I won't even put
Yeah.
it all on postpartum shedding because it really wasn't that bad. But I was just like, just cut it. I'm gonna cut it off. It wasn't damaged or anything. There were
Mhm.
spots that were thinning, but I didn't really care at the time. I was like, I want something new. I want to
Yeah.
be refreshed in my hair journey, whatever that looked like. And then this recent time, which I just told you about, right before I got these braids, actually, the last time I had them, I had boho braids in. And
Mm.
most of us
Yes.
who wear braids, you can see where your hair stops. I couldn't really tell, and I was literally ready to take the braids out because my scalp was itching, and I'm like, oh, I need to get my scalp cleansed.
Yeah.
So I'm rushing through the process. I chop the left side of my hair off, and the rest of my hair is on my back, and I'm like, oh no. And my stylist was like, well, what do you want to do? And I was like, girl, even know. What you mean?
We only
I
have
walk
one
around with
option here, ma'am.
no, there is one option and one option only. So we evened it out there. And I don't know if I'll call that a big chop because it wasn't like it was up to here above my ear or anything. It was still shoulder length, but still there was a difference. So that's why I say 2 to 3 times in my big chop situations.
Yeah. I think that's important for people to hear though, because sometimes I think people feel like when you go natural, it's like just this continuous like upward trajectory, right? Like my hair is just gonna be perfect. There's never gonna be any issues. But like
Yeah.
it's an iterative journey, and there's different challenges that come, and even some things that right? Like sometimes stuff just happens. Like
Yeah,
sometimes it's
yeah,
random. Like sometimes you accidentally cut off a piece of your hair. Sometimes you lean
literally.
back into a candle fire, like I did on Thanksgiving, you know?
We're
And
not
then
gonna
you
talk about it.
but you get it chopped off and you keep pushing, and like,
Yes,
and I think it helps, like if you've been in the journey for a while, like you have that mindset curated. But if you go in knowing kind of like, it's my hair, like I'm gonna
yeah,
try some things, hopefully these things work out great, like, and a lot of times it will, like your hair's gonna look beautiful, and even on the days that you might not feel like it looks beautiful, it still probably looks amazing, because we're all our biggest
yeah,
critics. And then sometimes we're gonna try something and learn something new and have to hit a reset, and all
yeah,
of those things like are okay, and they're part of the journey, and it
exactly.
doesn't make you like a bad natural or anything like that, because we're all, like really just learning and figuring things out at our own pace.
Literally, like just thinking back to where we were in college, like I said earlier, we were YouTube junkies, like trying out so many different styles. And I feel like there is a part of women in the natural hair community that feel like the big chop is like their initiation
Yeah.
into whatever transformation they're looking for. But for someone who is like or was in our position trying to figure it out, I can vividly remember going to Salt Lake City, Utah in June of this year, and a young girl saw me, and this was the first time I wore my hair. I usually don't wear my hair out during the summer, but I had it out, and she looked like she may have been in high school, and she was on the natural hair aisle, and she was just standing there like, okay, what do I get? What do I do? And
Mhm.
I'm in there. I was like, I just need some oil because I gotta moisturize my skin real quick. You know, I was on a
Yeah.
plane and stuff. So I was just going in there to get some moisturizing oil, and she looked at me and she said, "Oh my goodness, how did you get your hair like that? Where did
Aw.
you start?" And I
Yeah.
was floored. Like people always make comments about my natural hair, but I just, thank you. I give my little comment and I go on. And so in that moment, I felt like I really had to uplift her,
Yeah.
because she went and told me her story. Her mom is black, her dad is white, so she's mixed.
Mm.
She's in a community where it's not mixed, and she doesn't get to see other people with their curls out. So when she said that, I was like, okay, that makes sense as to why she said what she said when she saw me. But sometimes we just have to like uplift people and let them know like their hair is their journey and
Yeah.
no one else's. And like,
Yeah.
for one, and this is probably bad to say, but if a product does not work, take it back. Take the product back.
You'll get your
Like
money
she
back.
had a,
Yeah.
you know what
It's a
I'm
lot.
saying?
It's
Like
expensive. That's not bad to. We are saving coins and saving lives and saving hair all at the same time. Yeah. I mean, that's what we're
literally.
supposed. I mean, they'll take it back.
I told her the products that I use, and I'm not really big into like the whole hair typing thing, but if I had to categorize my hair, it is in the 3C4A
Hmm.
family.
Hmm.
And so I said, well, these are the products that work for me. And what I want you to do is go home, shampoo, condition, style it the way that you want to wear your hair. And if you see that they're not working, maybe they caused an allergic reaction,
Yep.
or maybe the products don't mesh well, because
Yep.
that is also a thing. Bring them back and just keep trying until you figure out what works for you. And so that's my advice for anybody right now that's new on their journey, in the middle of their journey, who's seasoned in their journey, and they're like,
Mhm.
I feel like I'm starting all over again. Just keep
Yeah.
trying stuff. Like it's hair, it's gonna do what it does, just like our bodies, as long as we're taking care of it. So shampooing, conditioning, moisturizing, all the things, getting your trims. I'm bad on that, so I'm going to say it again. Getting your trims when your stylist
Regularly.
recommends,
Yeah.
or when you
Yeah.
notice, something off.
Yes. I want to kind of like shift a little bit too, because you mentioned like one of your big chops being part of your experience of motherhood, right? And like
Hmm.
becoming a
Hmm.
mom. And I think people hear about it. Like I know I'm not a mom, but I hear all the time about like the changes that come to your hair, and also
Yeah.
just like how having a kid and like managing their hair can like influence your perspective. So I'm curious, just like your thoughts on how your motherhood journey has impacted your hair
Hmm.
journey, and also just like being a mom to a daughter who also
Yeah.
has hair.
A lot of hair.
A lot of hair.
She has a lot of hair. I would say because she's obviously my first child, and so for me, I won't say that I didn't listen to people when they gave advice prior to her arriving. But I didn't listen to people, I didn't want to take what worked for them and try to make it work for me while I'm dealing with other things, trying
Yeah.
to breastfeed, trying to learn my baby, trying to get into a rhythm of a schedule, which is non existent from 0 to 1.
Yeah.
So just trying to figure out all those things on my own, I feel like was probably the hardest. And
Mm,
so one of the things that I know for a fact helped reduce the amount of shedding that I had
yeah.
was continuing my prenatal vitamins. I kept my hair in a protective style. Like if I took the braids out or whatever style I decided on, it was for a month, and that was to let my hair breathe, get it trimmed, continue to keep it moisturized, and things of that nature. And so after that, like I said, it wasn't damaged or anything. I just felt like I needed to switch something up. Like I
Yeah.
needed something to make me feel good.
Mm,
And one of those things was remembering how I felt when I first big chop. Like when I first big chop, I was kind of sad, but at the same time, I was like, "Ooh, I have short, curly hair to play with.
yeah.
Let's figure out what to do with that." And so in those moments where I felt overwhelmed with motherhood, maybe I felt like I couldn't talk to anybody about what I was dealing with. I played in my hair,
Yeah.
outside of having a protective style, and so again, just reverting back to what I knew about my vitamins. I really kept taking my vitamins because my OB was like, "You taking your vitamins?" And I was like, "Okay."
Will do,
And
ma'am.
so, yeah, so yeah, just continue to take those, but I know some people who literally, like I said, go fade when they become a mom, because it's a lot of work. Like, you have your mini me, whether it's a boy or a girl, they came out of you, like they know your
Yeah.
cues, they know when you're sad, they know what you're feeling, all the things. And so for me it was really important to make sure that I showed up for myself during that time, and my hair played a big part of that.
I think that's so beautiful. Like, our hair can just really be a part of our healing journeys for ourselves because it's a part of us, right? And like
Yep.
for you to not be sure like what other outlets you have, but to be able to look to yourself and like identify your hair as like a
Hmm.
space of reprieve, right? Like
Right.
a space of kind of like comfort, of familiarity too, but also of fun.
Yeah.
Like for it to be able to do all of those things for you in a time where it sounds like, like you needed that. Like that's
Yeah.
really powerful.
Yes. Yes. I don't know why my hair became the topic, because I was super excited. Most moms, they grow their hair out while they're pregnant. I'm like, oh, my hair's gonna be down my back. And it was fuller, but I'm like, I already have full hair. Like,
Yeah.
what's next? And so cutting it off was that.
Not being like, you gave me the thing, but this isn't what I wanted, so we gotta hit the reset.
Not
Something
quite.
else.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh man. All right. Well, as we're getting ready to wrap down,
Yeah.
what final thoughts? I know you gave some really good tips earlier on like people that are considering going natural. So I'll
Hmm.
add to that. Like final thoughts
Yeah.
for those that are considering starting their natural journey or like even new moms that are kind of trying to
Hmm.
recalibrate for their hair and their natural journey. Just what are some final thoughts that you would share with them as we wrap?
Yeah. I'm gonna go back to my social media days. I don't know how popular YouTube is anymore, but I know TikTok is jumping. So if you need I use social media as inspiration, right? Like
Yeah.
I currently want to dye my hair, and so I was like, let me try out the red color in braids before I
Hmm.
commit
Hmm.
to the
Hmm.
color. So I love protective styles for that particular reason. Like if you're not ready to go all the way and do something
Yeah.
permanent, do a protective style, whether that's a sew-in, a wig, braids, twists. whatever your thing is, I think that's the perfect time and perfect opportunity for you to play
Yeah.
around with those things.
Yeah.
Like, again, like I said, it's hair. It will change.
Yep.
You will change. When you have children, you'll go through their natural hair journey with them. Like,
Mhm.
they don't care. They just want to roll around on the floor and play with all their toys. Like, they don't care. But in this conversation, I'm just thinking back to the way that Seven's hair has changed, like literally every year since she's been born.
Oh,
And so I'm like, what do I do with it? Like,
yeah.
do I put it in ponytails? Do I braid it? So I taught myself how to braid her hair. And so now she loves wearing her hair in braids. She's like, I want my hair like mommy. And so, those little
That's
tiny
so sweet.
things,
Yeah.
yeah, you have to find the joy in the little tiny things, especially when it comes to your hair. I know I mentioned I have a very long gray strand in the front of my hair right now, which I'm trying to hide, but it's something to embrace because I've always said when I go gray, that's it. I'm not dyeing it. I'm not cutting it out.
Yeah.
It's just going to be gray.
I
And
feel
so
the
we're going to take it
same.
from there.
I'm
Like
trying to look
it's a
like
part of
Storm in
you.
X-Men. I
There
want
you go. Period. So, embrace those changes, and what you do with your hair is who you are. Like, just embrace you, and whatever that looks
yeah.
like, whether it's straight hair, straight naturals, whether it's afro, like straight afro out, or a twist out, or whatever want it to be. That's you. Like, nobody can take that away from you. Especially, I have to piggyback on this. Especially in the workplace,
Yeah.
your hair does not speak to your capabilities in the workplace. So, if you want to have red hair, go for it, sis.
If you want to have red hair, go for it, sis. And I just want to double back on what you said about like using social
Yeah.
media for inspiration. Get
Mm-hmm.
inspired, find some new things, and be willing to test it and be okay with how it comes out on your hair. On your
There you
hair,
go.
not trying to like match, just looking for inspiration, but not saying it has
Right.
to come out exactly like theirs. So I think that's like a really good tip, and just find the joy in learning your hair and doing what works
Yes,
for you. Okay.
exactly.
Well, Kristen, our last question. If you could say one affirmation to your hair right now, what would you say?
Oh, and I think this probably has something to do with my workout from this morning.
Okay.
But girl, you are strong.
Period.
That's what I would say to my hair. Girl, you are strong. So
Come on,
again, I
hair.
dyed my hair blonde. It broke off. I cut it off. All the things. I went through postpartum shedding, cut it off, all the things. And I
Look
cut my
at
own
her.
hair off. Like, you're strong, girl. Like, it's okay.
It is strong. It is resilient. It's beautiful. It's
There you
beautiful.
go.
Awesome.
For
Well,
sure.
Kristen, thank you so much for joining today for our very first episode. I hope that you all enjoyed listening, and remember that all hair is good hair and your hair is good hair. Until next time.
See y'all later.
Bye. Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you liked what you heard, make sure to hit the subscribe button, leave us a review telling us what resonated with you, and share this episode with someone else who you think would also enjoy our conversation. You can follow us on social media at Your Hair Made Simple, and also keep up with us by joining our newsletter in our podcast description. Until next time, thanks so much for being a part of our community.